Hi, my name is Michael Kraft. I'm one of the co-organizers of the Rockland Arts Festival, and I'm here talking with Sheri Fishbach Langer, who is an author and screenwriter. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So let's get started. Just tell me how you got into writing.
I was born and it was there. The world of words has intrigued me since the beginning, and means of expression has always been very important to me, and that's my means of expression. So, my mom used to play word games with me from the time I was really little, and I just tend to see the world through storytelling of some sort. You know, even from the time that I was very little, I would see what I was doing in Telltale. It was kind of just like, oh, and she was walking to see this guy she had a crush on, and I was, 9. But that's just the way that I looked at the world. Probably because I was an only child for a long time. And so words and my thoughts became siblings and my company. And so I think in life, we're really pressed to have witnesses to what we experience. And when we don't have them, we create our own way to be able to hold on to our memories and our experiences. So that's kind of a little bit of how it was important for me to be able to access words to hold on to my memories and what was happening around me.
Very interesting. So, the thing that I that stood out for me reading your bio was that you've done screenplays and then based novels off the screenplays. So, as a rule, what comes first for you? Where did you start off writing stories or writing screenplays, and how does that like? Is that a good start for a novel? A lot of times writing a screenplay and then you have characters and dialogue and
Yeah, for me, I am a big fan of dialogue. I love putting my words into everybody else's mouth. So uh, it's really exciting for me. Uh, I was also a huge fan of improv. I studied improvisation for years. I took classes and really found it a great outlet for my creativity, for my expression. And I access it all the time to write dialogue. Um, it's just this great way of getting into an emotional place and a thinking place because you're thinking with your heart and your head when you're doing improv because that's the nature of the beast. That's how you get into it. So for me, dialogue was always really important, and I prefer it to uh, description. And description is lovely, and some people are amazing at it. I struggle a bit with that. So for me, it was always kind of more about relationship and characters, what the characters have to say, how they're going to interact with each other, and then we'll build the story around it. So it turns out for me that the screenplay becomes more or less an outline for the novel, with the exception of when I write scripts, in which case then I'm just writing the script. But I have thought even about possibly novelizing a couple of the scripts that I have. But usually I do work the other way around. It just seems to work better for me to have an understanding of the characters, and then I know what they're doing.
cool, okay. So tell us a little bit about a project you're working on now.
Well, I just finished, I just published my novel, This Guy. Uh, this is This Space Between Secrets. And this one just came out in the summer, the end of the summer. And so I had originally had a screenplay for that novel, because that's how I work. Um, but the novel changed so much during edits. And so now the screenplay that I have it doesn't really stand up to the novel in the way that I want it to. It's not as strong as it could be. So I work with a producer, Kelly Reynolds, who's also a dear friend. And she and she's a great creative consultant, a story consultant. She's a great ideas person. So she's helped me with several Hallmark style scripts because she's produced a few of those. And I told her, like, now she's got to finish the book so that she can help get this script going with me, because I don't really want to go for it yet until I have her there saying, like, I see it this way, and then we hash it out. So that's kind of that. I also have an idea for a Hanukkah script, because we're I mean, there's a ton of fabulous Christmas movies,
Right.
and there were a few really nice Hanukkah movies. So I kind of had a little bit of an idea about that. So I was thinking about that. Um, so that's kind of I'm a little bit more scripty right now, but I do have a couple of ideas for novels also. Like I said, I might look to novelize a couple of the scripts. So we'll see. There's always something, and it just depends on what calls at me the most. The squeakiest wheel gets the words.
Right. Correct. Correct. So
Mhm.
maybe that's already the answer to my next question. But in in your big dreams, would you rather the author to take off or the script writing?
Uh, can I have both?
Sure. I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, I guess at the end of the
I
day, that's true. I mean, yeah.
mean, I would love for a novel which has already been published to take off in a big way. I have several. Dex was my first, Love Lines was my second. They both have screenplays attached. Dex is a big project. It has a screenplay attached. It has a TV pilot attached. It's got so many ideas because it's about kids and food, which it's chefing, it's all of that stuff. I mean, there's really a basis for a stage play for it too. I mean, there's so much that Dex has to offer as a huge project. So I'd like to see that. And we're thinking of re-releasing it as a paperback, because it was initially done in hardcover. So we're thinking about re-releasing it as a paperback and including a Dex cookbook along with it, which we do have a bunch of recipes. So that would be kind of cool because it's
That'd be
different.
awesome.
So I'm a little excited about that prospect. Because also then once that's like re-released and it's new, then it becomes like relevant again.
Right.
And then I could play around with it a little bit more. And Love Lines, which was a few years ago, it was published. That has a great screenplay romantic comedy that was just finished like a couple of years ago. So we're still shopping that with tremendous possibilities. And anybody who knows either Fran Drescher or Barbara Streisand and wants to get them involved, we're here and we're waiting for your call.
Well, from reading the basis of Dex, I thought to myself, and what you talk about, the cookbook, and that would probably make a fantastic Netflix series.
I agree. And we have like a pilot, and then we have like an idea of a season, of an arc for an entire season, to be able to put out episodes. And I think it really would be a fabulous opportunity to go for something that's more, dare I say, wholesome, but yeah, sort of. I mean, I know wholesome has become a very bad word when it comes to uh, series, and I mean, it's not about sorcery or whatever other kind of mysterious paranormal. It's just a kid with an extraordinary gift. I mean, I could sprinkle fairy dust on him in the form of like cinnamon and confectioner sugar to make it like, more relevant that way. But but it really does. It's a fun family kind of project, with a lot of teeth. It really it's a good one, and I really am hoping that we get the opportunity to push it even more. And Love Lines, it's a Cinderella story. Who doesn't love happily ever after? I mean,
Yeah.
that's why I wrote it. It was like a sad divorce, and I wanted to write something comforting that I would want to watch or read all the time, over Chinese takeout when I was alone, to let myself feel, oh, there's hope. There's a happily ever after. There's always a possibility. And that was Love Lines, is that, it's always and forever possible to find the love of your life and the love that you're seeking at any age and any stage. And Space Between Secrets was just this thought, that it was just this wild kind of thought about what would happen about if there's this woman that really wants a child more than anything else, and what would happen if her husband's kind of playing games and stuff, and what would she do? And then it became like, okay, she's going to have an opportunity to get a baby overseas, and she's going to go for it. And then what's going to happen? And there was like Stephen King wrote this great book. I'm not a mystery thriller horror person, so I didn't read his novels, though I hear they're wonderful.
Yeah.
Um, but I did read his book on writing, which I found fascinating. And my son had told me about it. And I read that, and that really helped a lot with the whole idea of concept of like how to write. So, and his whole thing was like, what happens next? What happens next? And it goes. When you are open to it, it happens, and the story does in fact write itself. Oddly, I mean, you help, but it does write itself.
Right, right. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. Yeah, it's so funny that you're that you mentioned that you got all this inspiration from Stephen King, yet your stories are so different. So it just goes to show you can learn from like anybody, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, I um, was surprised actually at how much Charles Dickens played into my last novel. I had no idea I cared that much. I mean, I had read some of his novels from being in school and also when I was in grad school. And I had been affected by them, but I didn't really understand the depth of how affected I was, because all of a sudden he showed up.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I still don't know why. So, but he's there and his influence is there. So, I'm assuming he's hearing from the other place,
Right.
and he's very flattered.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview with us. And are you on? Do you have a website?
I'm mostly on Facebook, and I'm on
Facebook.
Instagram, and anybody can really get to me. We're developing a website now.
Okay.
And my husband is my manager, and he's developing a new website for us.
Okay. So
So when that's ready.
when how can they find you on Facebook or Instagram? Just under your name?
Oh, just yeah, Sherry Lynn. I think it's I think Sherry Lynn Fishbach Langer. I think is how
Okay.
I think that's what I settled on for now, just to find me. I have an author page that's Sherry Langer, but either or is great. And then that hooks up with Instagram and all of those platforms that, we're supposed to know a lot more about, or at least I should know a lot more about.
There's a lot to learn. I know. I totally get it.
I know.
Well,
I
thank you
know.
so much.
Well, thank you, Michael. You're adorable. And I'm just so happy to have the opportunity to chat with you and to be part of this because you guys do amazing, amazing work. And
Thank you.
ah, Lisa, oh my goodness. I mean, she's a force to be reckoned with. So, like, you
Yes.
guys are fabulous.
Thank you
So,
so
thank you.
much.